Oh yeah, what's going on, fam? It's your man VACAY-J, and yes, I'm back. We are back with another live stream coming directly to your screen. Absolutely, it's your man VACAY-J, and thank you for joining me today. Yes, we are covering season 2 of Power Book 3, Raising Kanan. That's right. So for all my Power fans out there, definitely shout out to you and shout out to everybody who is joining us today. All right, let's break it down. Let's go. Yeah, what's going on, fam? We are back. Welcome back to the show. We are live here in the VACAY-J studios, and absolutely, I'm excited to be with all of you today. We are going to break down the new season of Power Book 3, right? Power Book 3, Raising Kanan. We've been waiting for this one, and this one definitely is a special one to me. Why? Because this was the first Power Book that I ever recapped and reviewed a year ago, right? So absolutely, this was one of the first Power books. So shout out to the Power universe. Shout out to everybody that's loving Power. If you're loving Power, go ahead, do me a favor, hit that like button. And absolutely, if you're loving what's going on right now, absolutely hit that subscribe button as we get into it. So welcome everybody to the show. Yes, I am back. What's going on, Savannah? Hey, how we doing? Haven't seen you in a while. Hope all is well. And definitely shout out to all my Facebook exclusive fam out there. That's right. We're doing it big here for Power Book 3. So we're going to break this down. If you're loving Power Book, do me a favor right now. If you're loving the Power universe, tell me, let me know. Is this your favorite Power Book? Is it Power Book 2? Is it, Power period, like the OG Power? Is it Power Book 4, right? Let me know in the chat box which one is your favorite Power. Today we're going to be covering Power Book 3 and breaking down Raising Kanan. I like Raising Kanan because, number one, it's taking place back in the day, a place that I know, from New York City and from Harlem. This is in Queens, but it's 1991. So there was a lot going on in 1991. Okay, I see you, Savannah. Your number one is, I appreciate you. Thank you for the love. I appreciate that love for real. But definitely, we're going to recap, review, break down, and definitely look out for more of these live stream videos. And I'm going to be doing a whole lot more with the live. So definitely we're going to be seeing each other a lot more so, and definitely talking to each other as well. All right. So let's get into it. Let's break it down. I'm going to pull up some stuff. What did you think? What did you think about this episode? You know how we do on this channel, right? First, we're going to rate it, right? So let's first rate the show. Rate this first episode. If you saw it, if you're watching this, that means you've already seen the episode, right? And because I'm going to definitely go into all the intricate details of the show, of the episode 1 of season 2. So if you haven't seen it yet, definitely go ahead, go to your Stars app, do what you need to do, watch that, come back and watch me as we're going to break this down together. All right. So I personally rate this first episode, I personally rated a good 8. It was a good solid 8, right? And I'm going to tell you why as I break down the recap and as I recap everything and review everything. I'm going to break down why it was a solid 8. But to me, it was a solid 8. If you've seen it, definitely put down your rating. And let me see, Savannah, you say 8.5, B+. Okay, great. Awesome. So we're going to break this down, and yeah, we're going to share some footage, go through it together. And I'm excited about it. We're in the studios. I'm looking around because I got folks over here on Facebook, folks over here and there. So yeah, we're pulling things together, family. I appreciate all of your support. So let's break this down. Let's bring up where we start off with Kanan, right? Because last season, Kanan had to get out of town, right? Kanan had to get out of town because there was a lot going on with Kanan, right? It had to get out of town. So where do we pick up? We pick up where Kanan is now in Virginia. So we thought that he was going to Maryland. Rock had to call Symphony because Marv, Uncle Marv got caught up, right? He got arrested. They pulled him over. He got arrested. He was supposed to pick up Kanan after Kanan did everything that he needed to do to basically set up Unique, so Unique would go to jail. So Symphony had to pick up Kanan and got Kanan out of town. Gonna find out, we see Kanan is now in Virginia with his aunt and with his cousins out there in Virginia Beach. He's on the beach, and we see Rock. Rock is there, and Rock is smiling. We're seeing a whole lot more of Rock smiling lately because this is now 3 months later. 3 months after we shipped Kanan down south to Virginia Beach. He's there safely with his cousins and his aunt, and Rock is now back to now pick up Kanan because things have quieted down. But there's a whole lot more going on with Rock, we see, and the gang back in Queens, right? There's a whole lot more. It's not that it's just quiet, but there's a whole lot more going on. And as we go through this recap, we're going to see what Rock is going to show Kanan as to what is really going on back in Queens, right? So she came to pick him up. He's really like, okay, he's in a good place down there. He's enjoying his time with his cousins and his aunt, and everything seems to be cool. His aunt is really concerned about Kanan because his aunt is saying, hey, you know what? You told me that there was a lot of trouble going on. We can always enroll Kanan down here and he can stay down here. But now Rock is saying, hey, everything's cool now. Everything's quiet now. Whatever I do, I got to always keep my eyes out on my son. So, she just wants some like, hey, I got to do what I got to do. And now I'm here to pick him up and we're going to bring him back home. So now we shoot back home and we see that, Detective Howard's partner is questioning the doctor, right? It seems like Detective Howard has now been healed. We're finding out that Detective Howard, he's some type of superhuman, okay? Because from him getting shot, they did, some type of, examination on him, found out, yeah, he needed that bone marrow transplant. And because of that, they found someone who was a match. So remember in the last season, Detective Howard needed Kanan because Kanan is his real son. And Detective Howard needed Kanan to give him that bone marrow transplant. But we found somebody else that was a match. So he got that bone marrow transplant. He had cancer also. That's in remission. And those 2 bullet holes, those 2 rounds that went into his chest by Kanan have all of a sudden healed, right? Remember, family, this is TV, okay? So Detective Howard is a medical miracle from what the doctor's saying. But he's also saying that he does not remember anything as far as him being shot, who it was, and everything else like that. I believe he's doing that because he is covering up for Kanan. And at the same time, he now needs to use this as leverage to talk to Rock to get what he wants out of everything, right? So his partner's trying to really question the doctor. The doctor's like, listen, but if he's not remembering anything, that's okay. The fact that he's alive is a miracle. So, he didn't want to be discharged because he was looking for his ring or whatever, but now I guess he found it. And yes, he is being walked out as being a hero, and they are clapping for him anywhere from, the officers there and the doctors and the nurses. They're clapping for him as he's coming down the aisle to leave the hospital because, again, it looked like it was pretty bad for Detective Howard, right? It looked like he was going to die, and there was a whole lot more complications going on. But he's a miracle, a medical miracle, and now they're allowing him to be released from the hospital so that he can get back to what he needs to do. Now let's shoot over here. And again, this is a crazy conversation. We see Uncle Lou and we see his girl. I never remember her name because to me, she's very trifling, right? We're going to get her name and everything, but she's a trifling young lady, right? I'll say it like that. She's very trifling. I mean, she's trying to look out for, Famous. Famous is her brother. Famous, if you remember from season 1, Famous is her brother. He's the rapper that rapped on a song with Jukebox, right? And Jukebox, of course, is Uncle Lou's niece. So she's really pressing Lou to do another song, to give Famous some more beats. And Lou is like, listen, the song didn't do too well. And she's like, well, that's because of marketing, right? You guys didn't market it properly. And he's like, listen, the market spoke and it said F Famous, right? It said like, this song is not that good. It was okay. It's not moving. The mixtape is not moving. Like he needs to stay an artist like Fife. We're talking back in the day in 91. So back in 91, A Tribe Called Quest, Gangstar, I know this because, your boy was a DJ back then. So we're talking like, he's like, yeah, Guru, rest in peace to Guru. Guru and all these rappers back then, they would write without the beats. So they didn't need beats to write. They would just be creative. So he wants Famous to be more creative. But we come to find out that Famous has been smoking it up, doing all types of other stuff instead of focusing on becoming an artist. And Lou is not having that. So she's like, it's my job to push his career, forward. And he's like, well, I hear you on that, but you always being Famous's manager, when you gonna be my girl? And she's like, yeah, I can do both. So it's obvious that they're not really getting along because she's pushing, for her brother's music and pushing for this, but she's not really being a good girlfriend to him. And we're gonna find out why she's not being a good girlfriend to him because of some other things. But yes, it's not looking good for Lou and his girlfriend. We're gonna get her name. I just don't remember her name because I really don't like her. Right? Some people you just don't like. Like, I don't remember who their name is, but we'll get the name for you, absolutely. But yes, Lou is just on some like, listen, I'm a businessman. It's your job to care about Famous. It's not my job to care about him. Once he starts caring about his own career, then maybe I will give up. But right now he's not even caring about his music. So why should I? Right? So, he skates off or whatever. Right? So he goes down the street. And he's at a red light and he sees this girl in the car and she's singing over that beat that Famous rapped over and Jukebox sang over. But she's doing her own little lyrics. So she's singing this song and he's like, yo, that sounds kind of dope. And it does kind of sound dope, for that time in 1991, 92. Right? So it's like, yo, she can sing. So he's trying to get her attention, but she's playing her song, singing to her song, not really paying attention to anything else but that song. And driving on the road. He basically cuts her off, because she's not paying attention. She didn't hear him honk and everything. Cuts her off and she's just like, stop. Why did you do that? Why did you cut me off? Like, stay away from me. I got mace, right? So she's like, listen, you trying to threaten my life. You trying to come after me. And Lou is like, nah, it's not like that. It's not like that. Listen, who's singing that song? Who's singing over that beat? That's one of my beats. Who's singing over that? And she's like, yeah, it's me. It's me. I'm singing over that. That's me. He's like, oh, that's my beat. She's like, so sue me. That's a typical New York attitude. She's not open, especially after, he cut her off. She got to pull out her mace and everything else like that. So she really is kind of pissed off at him, but he's really on some like, hey, listen, how about instead of suing you, I want to sign you to my label. He pulls out a card. And he's like, just chill, right? He's like, I'm not pulling out a strap. I'm pulling out a card. I want you to be on my label, give me a call. She's like, is that it? Can I leave? That's typical New York attitude. He's like, I'm looking forward to speaking to you. So it was a weird kind of introduction as to what's going on with this introduction of what's happening with Lou and this young lady. But it's definitely gonna be something. It's gonna be something, okay? And this is her right there, okay? All right, so now we're in the projects. We are now in the Queens projects, okay? And yeah, it's looking kind of crazy up in there, I will say. Again, remember, this is 3 months after they got Kanan out of town. 3 months after Kanan shot Detective Howard. Come to find out that Rock and the crew have locked down the entire projects, right? Now, if you remember from the last season, they had these little drops, right? So let's say the cops came into apartment 5, right? They had a little drop that would go to apartment 4. So their partners, like, they would have to put the stash down this little drop, and they would go down the drop to apartment 4 while the cops are on 5 searching, but they won't find anything. Kind of find out they have created drops and worked with the superintendents and all this and that, and the housing officers that have been paying people off And guess what? These drops are now going all the way down to the basement. So now if the cops try to raid the apartments, they'll never find anything. And as of right now, the cops don't know anything because all they're doing is looking out on the street for, any activity on the street. And they are pulling people over on the street, right? They're pulling over Unique's old people that's still trying to make it out there, even though Unique is locked up. So Rock and the crew have created this incredible system in the projects where they cannot be touched at this time. The cops are not even thinking about it. They just think people live in the projects and that's it. But they got a whole different operation. Kind of reminds me of, Nino Brown, New Jack City, but this is kind of way more complicated, right? It's way more complicated, way more sophisticated, okay? So yeah, Rock is showing Kanan, hey, this is what's going on. This is the new operation. This is where it's at right now. So this is where you want to be, and I'm going to show you exactly what we've been working on for the past 3 months. Even when they went up in the elevator, and there was people waiting for the elevator, and Rock and Kanan went into the elevator. They refused to go in the elevator with Rock. And Kanan's like, why didn't they come in the elevator with us? And she's like, you got to ask them. So she's basically the queen pin running the show. And while Kanan is walking through to where the headquarters is, where they count the money, wherever it is, they got a gate all set up. He's seeing all these different base heads and crack heads and people going to steal doors. And, they pay over here and then they pick it up over there. Like, it's crazy up in there. It's really looking like a crack house, but it's a crack project, okay? So now, let's show it over to the jail. We see your boy Unique. And the guy is walking Unique back to his cell. And he's saying to Unique, I can't believe they didn't find anything on you. You know what I'm saying? I can't believe you're going to be released. And, he said, you may not be guilty for shooting that cop, but you are guilty of other things. And Unique is like, listen, we all guilty of something, right? So he's kind of happy because Unique, while he thought he was going to be in there for a long period of time, he actually got off, and now he's going to be released. So Unique is coming out. So it is 3 months later. So he was locked up for at least 3 months, right? Because everything happened all at the same time 3 months ago, okay? So now we shoot over and we see Juke. And Juke is listening to some music back in the day, definitely some 91, some 90-ish type of music. But she's looking through and she's reminiscing, looking through some old photos. And what does she see? She finds a photo of her and her mother. So on the back, you'll see it says Kenya and Laverne. Laverne, that's Jukebox. Kenya is her mother, and that says what, 1975, right? So that's a baby picture of Jukebox and her mom. And yes, her mom is being played by LaToya Luckett, right? So we're going to see her soon, but she's reminiscing, thinking about her mom, thinking about everything and everything that happened as far as her and Marvin, who is her father. Marvin and her had a physical fight because Marvin was being, the jerk that he is or was. He's trying to change now, but, he was really being terrible in last season when it came down to finding out that, Juke had a girlfriend, and he wasn't really taking it the right way and handling it the right way, okay? So shooting back to the spot in the projects, they're saying they come to find out they're making $75,000 a day, fam. $75,000 a day, right? So for a few people's like annual salary, they're making $75,000 a day. So Scrap is letting Rock know, hey, listen, people are complaining that the hallways are smelling like piss, and that it's too loud and all this and that. So Rock is like, listen, have the boys mop up, get some air freshener. We're gonna make it cool. Give all the people, the residents, money if they need groceries, or take care of all the older people who need prescriptions. Like, she's really trying to take care of it to make sure everything runs smooth, so no cops running it. She doesn't want the cops to come up in there and mess up the whole operation. Even though they have a foolproof operation where they're just going to be dropping, product. If somebody goes on the second floor, they'll drop it to the first floor, drop it to the basement. The cops will never find out because they keep going up. All right. So again, $75,000 a day. Your boy Kanan is looking at the bread and he's like, that's a lot of bread, right? So yeah, a lot of great things going on here as far as the operation. She is now the queen pin running the show. So we finally see Kanan catch up with his cousin Juke. She's singing and humming. She's looking at a piece of paper. Ain't nothing on that paper. I don't know what she's looking at. But she's humming and singing. You know, she's still kind of tore up about, Nicole, that was a girlfriend who basically killed herself, from, some of the product that Kanan had, some bad product. And she stole it, right? And her girlfriend died. She's still kind of messed up about that, but now she's trying to move forward. She's trying to move on. She's trying to do her best to kind of pour herself into music. You know, when you feel a lot of pain, you're going to pour yourself into some music. And yeah, that's exactly what Juke is doing. She's still singing, and we're happy that she's still singing because she can really sing. Like in real life, she can really sing. But as far as the character, she really can sing, okay? And, she's making jokes, and Kanan's like, hey, I heard you need a backup singer. And she's like, nah, not with that voice, So they're happy to see each other, glad to see each other. They're back again, and a lot has changed in the past 3 months. And what has changed, again, as I mentioned earlier, is Marv. Uncle Marv, he hasn't seen Juke in 3 months as well. So even though they were living in the same city, after that whole fight, she probably went and stayed with Rock and not stayed with Marv, right? So she's probably staying with her aunt, Rock, who is Kanan's mother. And yeah, she's been staying away from her father because they had that whole physical fight. Like he almost choked her and he just stopped choking her and cried. If you remember, check back at the last season, but they really got into it over some craziness. So now Marv, he's trying to be a better father. He's trying to talk to her, but she's really not feeling him. She hasn't forgiven him for all the craziness that he did. And he's really trying. He is really trying. I give him that. He's trying to connect with her, trying to reconnect with her. He said, hey, maybe we can talk. And she's like, nah, I'm not really feeling that. I'm not really trying to talk. So she's not really into, what's going on as far as Marv and him trying to reconcile with her right now. Maybe down the line, maybe, however months from now or a year from now, maybe she'll feel a little better. Maybe she needs to see her mom. And that's why we're probably going to see LaToya Luckett, her mom, in this and see how that goes, right? So, Rock cooked dinner and she's sitting down with the family and she's letting everybody know, listen, I know we got a lot of static between us and everything, but one thing is for sure, that blood, the same blood runs through our veins. And that means something. So we got to stick together. We got to keep this operation going. We got to keep, sticking together as a family, regardless of our differences. And yeah, she is talking to, Laverne, aka Jukebox, because whatever was going on between her and Marv 3 months ago, they need to reconcile. They need to reconcile. And she's trying to get Jukebox to kind of come around because everybody needs to get along in order for things to go well with the family. Okay. So now we got Famous, man. This kid right here, I'm really kind of like, and I think I kind of feel the same way Lou does because this dude is he's a young kid and all he's doing is just smoking and getting high and all this and that, but he's not really focused and not really a serious artist, and I can understand why Lulu doesn't want to invest in him because he's not really taking the music thing serious. He says he wants to be famous. He wants to be a rapper, did a song. His sister got him on the Bobito show. And that was a show back in the day, an underground hip hop station that was on a college radio line, right? And it was a big hip hop station back in the day in the 90s, Stretch and Bobito show. So she did a lot of things for him, but he's not really taking it serious. He thinks that he blew up already, or he thinks that he's all of that. And he's a very arrogant young man, unfortunately, and with a lot of potential, but he's not putting in the work to become a better artist. So he's like, listen, he's trying to get more beats and they're basically discussing the conversation that she had with Lou. And Lou doesn't want to invest in him. Lou is kind of done. Like he's done. He's trying to move on. He's trying to spend his money wisely because they're not making money yet. They did one single, didn't make money yet. So, Famous is on some like, listen, I thought you was going to be a better manager because you haven't, you doing, stuff to Lou. That's supposed to be your boyfriend. So you having sex with him. So I'm thinking it'd be a better situation. But obviously, what you're doing ain't working. So I'm going to get me another manager because I need some beats and I want to move forward and all this and that. And his sister's like, how dare you talk to me like that? Like I'm going hard for you, trying to get you, in the studio and talking to him and talking to him. And he basically is disrespecting her by saying that she's sleeping with him, and it's just not working. It's not working in his favor. So he's gonna go and try to get another manager. She's like, you're not gonna find another manager, with the attitude like that and everything else like that. So, she's just not really feeling what's going on with him, not really feeling what's going on with Lou. And we're gonna see what she does in the reaction of these two guys not really feeling how she's moving. So now we got Juke and we got Kanan, and they're on the stoop. And Kanan's like, yo, when you start smoking, man, like, you ain't smoking 3 months ago. And Juke is like, hey, listen, a lot has changed in the past 3 months. So she's out there smoking. He's like, are you ever going to like really forgive Marv? Are you gonna forgive your father? And she's like, I didn't plan on doing it. She's thinking about it again. There's a lot going on. Imagine if your father got upset with you, destroyed some sentimental things to you, and then you guys fight, and then he tries to choke you. Like, that's exactly what happened. So I can understand why Juke feels the way she feels and why she's handling things the way she's handling things. But even so, she is talking to Kanan, and Kanan feels bad about actually shooting that cop. That's all he knows Detective Howard to be, is a cop, and that his mother had him do this. His mother had him go ahead and shoot him. So he's feeling some type of way about it. And Jukebox is on some like, listen, Juke is like, hey, that's not your fault. It's wrong that she sent you to do that. So she wasn't even feeling the fact that, Rock had him do that, and it should have been somebody else, right? It should have been somebody else. So yeah, Famous comes over. He starts popping stuff as well. But we see that also that Detective Howard is creeping around. He is driving around. He came around the house and he did see Kanan, that Kanan is back. And as he's driving off, Kanan did see Detective Howard drive off, right? So he kind of has a feeling as to what's going on. Detective Howard's kind of creeping around, trying to see when is the best time, I guess, to really talk to Kanan or connect with Kanan or connect with Rock. Because he hasn't been connected. Remember, he's been in the hospital. So he hasn't been connected or speaking or having a conversation with anybody, okay? So now we have Rock, Marv, and Lou. And yes, Rock is talking about how things are going real well. The system's going real well. She's thinking about expanding. And because things are expanding, she wants to go to different projects and do the same thing, right? So with all that being said, she wants to give more work to Lulu, right? But Lou is like, listen, Marv is doing well in the 40s. Well, Marv is doing well over here. Give him the 40s too. So give him the other projects too. Lou doesn't really want to be involved with this. Lou is really trying to focus on the music. He really doesn't want to be involved. But Rock is like, yo, I'm trying to give you work. You're not making money with this label thing, and it's not helping us as a family. You know what I'm saying? So I want to give you more work, give you, you could be the boss over here while Marv will be the boss over here. Right? Makes sense, right? But Lou has his own mindset on doing other things. Now, here's the thing with Scrappy. We kind of find out from Kanan, of course, 50's talking. We find out from Kanan that Scrap, basically, he loves to bet. He got it from his father, who was a bookie, and his mom has like card games every Wednesday. So they told him, even Rock told him, listen, if you're going to be down with us, you need to stay away from the card games, right? We don't need anything to disrupt our operation, okay? So we don't need you to be in that card game, and all of a sudden, the cops come through, and guess what? You get busted for gambling, illegal gambling, and doing card games, or whatever the case is, right? And guess what happens? What Rock said came true, because, yeah, the cops came through, raided the place, and arrested everybody in the place, even Scrap's mom, who was like, don't take away Scrap's money because he got to buy me, this, that, and the third for my birthday. So they all got arrested. And now there's some heat coming down on Scrap. Hopefully nothing wrong is said where he's given up anything that's going to mess up, Rock's organization. So back to Unique in jail. Now, remember, Unique is still locked up. He's still in jail. He's still locked up. And, he's supposed to be getting out soon. But these guys are roughing up somebody else. Unique's trying to walk past. I don't know why he's trying to walk past when you see what's going on. Like, you see that dudes is trying to get at somebody. Maybe he did it on purpose. I don't know. But the guy bumps into Unique, and Unique is like, yo, watch your step, man. Watch what you're doing. And the dude is like, move on. And he says a slur, he says a racial slur to him. And of course, Unique is like, yo, watch your mouth. So they get to scrapping, right? The other dude comes out, and we find out again, your boy Unique got some hands. Like, he knows what he's doing when it comes down to fighting and the whole nine. So he got his hands, and he's beating up 3 dudes who was trying to get at this one dude and make him do some stuff he didn't want to do. So Unique beats this 3 dudes up, and then they take him away. They take him away, and the guy's like, hey, listen, I saw it. Unique, they try to jump Unique. So it is what it is. But Unique's getting out real soon. So now let's look at it. I want to know, drop in the comments, what do you think is going to happen with this relationship? Because, last season, I saw them getting it on. It seemed like, she likes Symphony. Rock likes Symphony because he's a smart guy. He's a teacher. He's an instructor. He's a professor. He's a very inquisitive guy. Like, he knows a lot. Right. And he, at this point, can definitely be trusted because she trusted him to get Kanan out of town to take him to Virginia. So they're sitting down with him to basically thank him for taking care of Kanan. And I don't know why she waited. Right. She could have thanked him a long time ago before even bringing back Kanan. But I guess they all sit down together and they're having lunch or whatever. And, you see the vibe between these two. They had a thing last season. Rock kind of played them on some like, listen, what I got with you is a fairy tale. I don't think this is going to work out based on what I do, because she's a queen pin. So she can't have any distractions. She can't really fall in love because it's a distraction. It'll mess her up. And that's kind of what happened last season. So, Symphony is there, but we're seeing more of a smiling Rock this season. Last season, she wasn't smiling a lot like this, but she's smiling. She seems to be in a happy place, which is a good thing. Maybe, I don't know. It may be a bad thing. It may be a good thing, but Rock definitely is happy at this point with her operation, that things are going well. And, she definitely, I believe she still feels Symphony. I believe they still got some vibe going on. I believe they still got something going on between each other. It's just, the way that she goes about expressing herself and her love is just kind of rough for Symphony. Symphony, he's not a soft guy, but he likes it the way that he likes it, right? Rock is a little rough around the edges, but she's fine as hell, right? She's beautiful, but she's a little rough around the edges, and she has to be in a male-dominated, I'm not going to call it an industry, but in a male-dominated world that she's in when she's in the product game, right? So she has to be tough, rough around the edges and all this and that. But sometimes with Symphony, I believe she needs to just bring it down. Just bring it down a little bit. And she did last season. But again, that got her kind of caught up, right? Got her kind of caught up. So, we see that Symphony and Kanan definitely have a good relationship, a good vibe with each other. They're joking about how when he was driving Kanan down to Virginia, how Kanan was eating up all the Cheetos. And now he owes Symphony money for Cheetos because he couldn't even get his hand in the bag. You know what I'm saying? So, we see that Rock is looking at their interaction, and she likes how Kanan and Symphony get along. Symphony's kind of like a father figure to Kanan, and she kind of wants that, but at the same time, it's kind of bad timing, being that she's trying to operate and be the queen pin that she is. Okay. But yes, they definitely have a great relationship. They're joking with each other, and it's a good vibe between these two, because at first it wasn't a good vibe, right? But now with everything that's going on, definitely it's a good vibe between these two. So now we're in the studio, right? And Lou, I'm telling you, Lou is really on some business tip. It's like, I'm not wasting my money on famous. I'm not wasting my money on artists that are not going to sell. And really, his girlfriend is still stressing the fact that, it wasn't marketed properly. It wasn't pushed. There was no street team. There was no nothing. And that she was kind of doing a lot of the promotion. But even Famous is like, yo, Lou was like, I don't want to take a loss. And Famous is like, a loss? What are you talking about, a loss, man? We ain't losing. Like, how are we losing? He's like, yo, your mixtape's not moving. Your single's not moving. We're losing because we're not making money. All right. And nobody's playing your song. So he's like, listen, I want to put my money onto a sure shot. And speaking of like a sure shot, here she is. And he introduces the young lady that he pulled over with the car, right? Her name is Keisha, something like that. And yeah, she's going to be his new artist. And he's like, listen, it's time to get in the booth. Let's make some magic happen. and he's happy to see her, that she came through, that she called, because she did do her thing on that other track that Famous was rapping on, and she sounded pretty good. So now it's time to do some work in the studio. Of course, Famous is not feeling that at all. He's upset about it. He's totally upset about it because he's not getting any beats. Lulu's not going to invest in him. He's going to have to be the artist and just keep writing and possibly find another producer or whatever the case is, right? And yes, they're not feeling it either. But there's something going on between these two right here. And that's something that they don't want Lulu to find out, because Lulu was quick to pull out the strap and, make it clap, right? All right, so now we find out that, you remember last season, I don't know if you remember last season, but Tony D ratted on Marv saying that he had this operation going on, that operation, but there was no evidence at all. Right? She had nothing. She had a little bug on her in her office trying to get him to say that, yeah, she owes him money for whatever operation, but he never said anything, and he kind of picked up that she was trying to get him to, kind of snitch on himself, right, on a wire. And he didn't do it. She said that, yeah, you need to bring him in. So they brought him in. That's why he got arrested, he got pulled over and everything else like that. But his lawyer said, listen, there's no case on you, but you were caught with marijuana. So because you was caught with the hashish, you got to do some community service. So his lawyer's like, listen, man, just go to one of these classes, the anger management classes, and I'll arrange you where you just sign in and then you just walk out. You won't have to stay there. Lo and behold, he goes to the class, meets this lady, and she's like, where you going? He's like, yo, I just signed in. My lawyer told me to just sign in and I could walk out. She's like, nah, bro. It's not going down like that. You think you just walk in and walk out? No. Either you come in, sign, sit down, or I'm going to tell, them that you violated your court order, that this is what you need to do. And then you'll have a seat somewhere else where it's not that comfortable to sit, like these little chairs right here. So she's like, sit your ass down. I'm like, okay, I like this lady. She's a little tough. You know what I'm saying? She's like, we're dealing with anger issues. So she's like, inhale, exhale, right? But she's not soft one bit. She's not soft. She's telling Marv, yo, sit your ass down. Let's go. Okay. So now we're in the studio. And yeah, your boy Lou is feeling shorty. She's singing and she sounded real good over this other beat that came about. Definitely a 90s vibe. If you guys are into the 90s, this is definitely a 90s vibe. And it sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty good, if I must admit. But yes, your boy is definitely feeling it. And then here comes Jukebox. She's coming in there. I guess she was supposed to do something, maybe write something, sing something, whatever. But she comes in there and Marva's like, yeah, she sound good, right? She sound good, right? And she's smiling at Lou. She's smiling at Lou, but really she's like, who is this chick, right? Like, who is this chick coming up in here with my uncle? I'm supposed to be the singer here. Who is this new chick, right? So we're probably going to see some type of discrepancy between Jukebox and this girl as far as who's going to be the queen to be singing on this label. This is what I'm talking about right here, right? So we got the record label dude, and we got Lulu's girlfriend, and yeah, they've been messing around together. They've been messing around, unfortunately, right? So that's why, Lulu's girl hasn't been giving him some, because she's been giving it to him right here, and he's like, what's going to happen if Lou finds out? And she's like, well, he's going to kill you. He's like, he can't kill me. He can't run the studio without me, da-da-da-da. And she's like, listen, Lou learns pretty quick. Like, he will replace you. Like, he will kill you, get somebody else, find somebody else, whatever the case is, right? So, she basically is sleeping with him because he has connections and contacts. Because he's telling her, like, it's all about who you know. And speaking of who you know, she's like, what about that job in Cali? He's like, yo, you got a job. It's waiting for you. Just got to take your fine ass out to Cali and go get the job. She's like, well, I might as well, because I don't got nothing here. So basically, she already wrote off Lou. Already wrote off, Famous, her brother, because she's not trying to, push for her brother, right? Because her brother's like, I'm going to get a new manager. And, she just messing around with dude right here just so she can get the connection. She's basically sleeping her way to the top, as they say, unfortunately. So, she's like, I don't got nothing here. And then he goes down. He's like, yeah, you got this, right? So we'll see what happens with that. If Lou finds out, it's a wrap. Like, dude, and I already seen some of the clips, so they are going to get into some type of discrepancy, and it may be over her. Okay, so yes, Unique is out now. They let him out. He's out back on the street. 50 is talking as Kanan. He's like, yeah, you got to do the time. You can't let the time do you. When you go in, you got to come out even harder. When you come out, be even harder and colder than ever. And that's exactly where Unique is about to do. He's about to get colder than ever. At the same time, we see Uncle Marv in the car. He was waiting to see when Unique got out so he can get word back to Rock. And finally, as we conclude, we see that Rock is waiting in the park, smoking her little funny cigarettes. And who is she waiting to meet up with, to talk to? That's right, your boy, Detective Howard. Detective Howard is who she's going to be talking to as it comes to a close, right? He's back on his feet. He's looking better than ever. He already got that bone marrow transplant. Doesn't have cancer anymore, so he's getting stronger and stronger. But it's time for them to have a discussion. What are they going to talk about? What do you think is going to happen with this exchange? Again, he remembers everything. There's no amnesia. He told the doctors and everybody he had amnesia because he has his own little plot and scheme that he's going to do when it comes down to Rock and Kanan and even possibly DEFCON, because he knows the truth about DEFCON too. We'll learn more about who DEFCON is. If you did watch the first season, you know exactly who it is. But we should be seeing DEFCON in this season as well. So that's it, fam. That is the recap. Season 2, episode 1 of Raising Kanan Power Book 3. Family, drop your comments below. Listen, fam, to me, again, a solid episode. I see all your comments. I see what's going on here. Yeah, fam, I see you. I see all your comments. And yes, absolutely, again, a solid episode. Solid episode 1 of season 2. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. Definitely a good setup, right? Also, one thing I did not remember to mention is that, yes, Rock wanted to basically bring Unique's right-hand man to be down with them. So by the time Unique got out, he had nobody to go to, no organization, no nothing. So this is Rock chess piece strategy in order to make sure that Unique is totally shut down. And that's probably what's going to happen. I saw some previews, and it's probably what's going to happen. Unique is going to be so hot on the street that nobody, not even the suppliers, are going to want to work with him, are going to want to give him anything. So Unique is going to have a hard way to go when he comes out to try to get his organization back together. But again, to go back on the block, that's not even the move right now because Rock already set it up where now people got to go through the projects in order to get the product. So yeah, the block is too hot, and that's not where it needs to be. So family, again, I appreciate you rocking with me today. Absolutely drop your comments below. Let me know what's going on. I see some comments here. I see somebody said a 6. Kanan wanted to stay. Yes, Kanan wanted to stay in Virginia. Somebody said here, don't like jukebox. Wow, she's too disrespectful towards the daddy. Yeah. Well, again, remember, why she's disrespectful to the daddy. Definitely go back, watch the season 1 because Marv did go crazy on her. He was real disrespectful to her once he found out that she liked Nicole and she liked girls. He didn't know how to handle it. He really didn't know how to handle it, and he didn't handle it in a proper way. And that's why they had that fight, and that's why she's kind of disrespectful to him. So it's understandable, but hopefully they get it together. All right, fam. So again, I appreciate you rocking with me. This was the recap. Definitely, if you're watching the live, I appreciate you. If you're watching on Facebook, appreciate you. If you're watching the replay, I appreciate you as well. Definitely hit me with that like if you like what you're seeing. And definitely hit that subscribe button if you're brand new to the channel. I appreciate you all. And definitely look out for the next episode 2 of season 2 of Power Book 3, Raising Kanan. We're going to be doing a whole lot more lives, family, and we're going to be rocking together, fam. So I appreciate all your love and support. And again, it's your man, VACAY-J. And until next time, salute. Good night, everybody.